The starship Endeavour floated silently through the endless darkness of the Altair system. Its silver hull gleamed faintly under the distant light of a dying sun, and inside, the hum of the engines was the only sound that filled the narrow corridors. Captain Mira Lawson leaned over the console, her fingers dancing across the controls with practiced ease. Around her, the crew moved with quiet confidence, checking systems, monitoring scans, and occasionally exchanging friendly jokes. It had been a routine mission, just another exploration of a newly discovered star system at the edge of human-colonized space. The crew had expected empty planets, strange rocks, maybe a hint of gas storms, nothing dangerous. Just the calm, quiet excitement of discovery. "Captain, the outer sensors are clear," Lieutenant Raj Patel reported, his voice calm. "No signs of anomalies. The planets appear stable." Mira nodded, trying to keep a smile on her face. "Good. Let's keep it that way. Keep scanning, Raj. I want to know everything before we even land." The crew went about their work, unaware of the eyes that had been watching them for light years. Deep in the darkness, a massive alien ship emerged from the void, invisible until now. Its surface was black, jagged, and strangely alive, reflecting nothing of the starlight. The ship moved with terrifying silence, a predator ready to strike. Suddenly, the alarms on the Endeavour screamed like a chorus of metal bells. Red lights flashed across the bridge, bathing the crew in a sinister glow. "Status," Mira shouted, her heart pounding, shields at 50% dropping fast. Raj yelled, We're caught. Caught." The word echoed in Mira's mind. She turned to the main screen and saw it. A gravitational snare. A web of invisible energy twisting and bending the Endeavour's path. The ship trembled violently, and the controls jerked in her hands as if resisting their very commands. What is this?" Commander Harlan whispered, his face pale. "Can't move. Nothing responds." Mira's gaze shifted to the main sensor panel. Strange symbols glowed in a pattern she had never seen before. They pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. The symbols were not a language she recognized. They were alien, sharp and chaotic, yet oddly deliberate. The crew stared in disbelief as the symbols flickered across the screen, as if mocking them. "Are they trying to communicate?" Raj asked, squinting at the symbols. "Communicate?" Mira's voice shook. "They're trapping us. It's all, and I don't think it's friendly." Crash! The ship shuddered again. A low hum vibrated through the floor, like the growl of some enormous creature. Sparks flew from the consoles, and the emergency lights flickered, revealing tense faces everywhere. Crew members grabbed handrails to keep themselves steady. The Endeavour was no longer a vessel of exploration, it had become a cage. Loot. Lieutenant Cale Rivers, the youngest on the crew, pressed his hands to his head. "We can't fight this." "Weapons? They won't even respond. Nothing is working." Mira gritted her teeth. "Calm down. Panicking won't help. Everyone run diagnostic on power cores. I want to know if we can redirect energy to shields." Harlan shook his head. "It's no use. This snare, it's designed to neutralize anything we have. We're helpless." The crew fell silent. The reality of their situation sank in like icy water. We're trapped, drifting in an alien trap with no backup, no hope of rescue. The tension on the bridge was suffocating. Each beep of the console, each flicker of the red lights, each vibration of the hull made hearts pound faster. Then the symbols changed. Faster now, brighter, almost angry. They shifted and twisted across the screens, forming patterns that seemed to anticipate every movement of the Endeavour. It was as if the aliens were watching them, studying them, playing with them, like children toyed with insects. "Captain," Raj said quietly, I think they're mocking us." Mira swallowed hard. The thought chilled her to the bone. To be trapped by an unknown force, to have no control over your fate, and to realize that your captors were intelligent. Enough to taunt you. It was a nightmare come alive. She clenched her fists. "We can't stay here. We can't die like this. There has to be a way out." Harlan shook his head. "There is no way out. Not from this." Mira's mind raced. They'd been explorers, scientists, dreamers. But now survival had become the only goal. If the known universe could not help them, then perhaps the only hope lay with the unknown. Her thoughts turned to the legends she had heard, whispered among humans who had traveled farther than any crew in history. A species that no empire dared challenge, the most lethal beings in the stars. They were feared, ruthless, unstoppably, and yet maybe they were the only ones who could save the humans now. Her voice was steady, cold with resolve. We have no choice. We need help. From the most dangerous species in the galaxy, the bridge fell silent. Every crew member understood the gravity of her words. They had faced unknowns before, but nothing like this. Nothing could have prepared them for the choice they now faced: to trust a species feared by the entire galaxy, or to die, trapped and hopeless, in the heart of an alien snare. The stars outside the viewport seemed indifferent, the distant sun, a pale witness to their fear. But within the darkness, something waited, something powerful, lethal, and maybe, just maybe, willing to listen. As the Endeavor shuddered again, Mira looked at her crew. Faces were pale, eyes wide, hearts racing. But somewhere deep inside, a spark of hope flickered. They were trapped, yes, but not yet defeated. The Endeavor drifted in the alien snare, its hull trembling with every pulse from the mysterious force that held them captive. Captain Mira Lawson stared at the main screen, watching as the strange symbols blinked in rhythmic patterns. Then, suddenly, the symbols shifted and rearranged themselves into shapes that seemed like words. But they weren't words humans could read. The crew watched, tense, as a holographic form flickered into view, being taller than any human, its body armored in dark, reflective plates that seemed to absorb light. Its eyes glowed faintly, cold and sharp. "It's alive," whispered Cale Rivers. "Alive." Mira repeated, her hand instinctively reaching for her sidearm, but she knew it was useless. Their weapons had already failed in the snare. "Yes," she said slowly, "and it's the first contact. But we have to be careful, very careful." The alien's voice echoed directly inside the ship, a strange vibration that made the floor hum. Yet, somehow, Mira felt a strange clarity, a sense that this being could understand intent, emotion, even fear. Mira stepped forward, her chest tight, her mind racing. "We are trapped," she said clearly, her voice steady. "We are explorers. We mean no harm. Please, we need help." The alien tilted its head. Metallic clicking sound echoed through the bridge. The crew held their breath, seemed to be considering. Then, slowly, it moved closer, the glow of its eyes intensifying. Lieutenant Raj Patel whispered to Myra, "Captain, I don't know if we can trust it. These beings. They are known to destroy entire fleets for sport, entire planets." "I know," Mira said quietly, "but we have no choice. If we die here, humanity loses another ship, another crew. We need allies, even if it means trusting a predator." The alien raised its clawed hand, and the ship shuddered again. Then, a holographic map appeared before Mira's display of the alien fleet that had trapped them. Red circles marked ships, planets, and unknown regions. The alien pointed at the largest of the red circles, the enemy flagship, panned then back at the humans. The meaning was clear. They had a common enemy. The humans would be allies, if they agreed to the terms. Mira looked around at her crew. Harlan's face was pale, Cale's hands trembled slightly, and Raja's jaw was tight with fear. "Have no choice," she repeated. "We have to try." The alien studied them for a long moment, its glowing eyes scanning each human carefully. Then it lowered its hand. A low, resonant hum filled the bridge. It was acceptance, but not kindness. The humans were not friends. They were tools, weapons, or perhaps experiments. "All right," Mira said, her voice firm. "We work together, but know this. We will fight. We will survive, and we will not fail." The alien made a series of clicks and whistles. Its armor shifted, revealing strange, segmented limbs and weapons integrated into its body. It was deadly, every part of it designed for war. It would expect the humans to keep up. Over the next few hours, the humans were trained, or rather, forced to understand the alien tactics. Movement, attack patterns, defensive protocols, they were brutal and efficient. Any hesitation was met with sharp reprimands and sometimes violent demonstration. The humans learned quickly that these were not gentle teachers. Every lesson carried the weight of life and death. Kale gasped. During one demonstration, they could kill a ship in seconds. They could destroy a planet, Raj muttered. The days that followed were the hardest the crew of the Endeavor had ever faced. The ship floated just outside the alien snare, but there was no rest. Every moment was filled with training, observation, and an unshakable tension that clung to the air like a heavy fog. Captain Mira Lawson watched as her crew struggled to adapt. The lethal alien species moved with a grace and precision that humans could barely comprehend. Their claws, limbs, and integrated weapons worked in perfect harmony, attacking and defending in a deadly dance. To a human, it looked like chaos, but it was order of a type that was terrifying in its efficiency. Focus. The alien commander snapped one day. His voice was low, resonant, and somehow filled the room without speaking a single human word. The crew understood the command perfectly. It was time to move, to adapt or face consequences they did not want to imagine. Cale Rivers struggled to keep up. His movements were clumsy, and he stumbled repeatedly, nearly colliding with the alien instructor. Sparks from the training console shot across the floor, making his heart pound. I can't do this, he muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. You can, Mira said sharply. We have no choice. If we fail, we die. Every second you hesitate is a second closer to your end. Cale swallowed hard and nodded. He tried again, this time focusing on the rhythm of the alien movements, the timing of their strikes. Slowly, painfully, he began to understand. Human body could not match their speed or strength, but he could match their thinking. That was the key. Humans had ingenuity. Humans could improvise. And if they combined their brains with the lethal species' raw power, they had a chance. Raj Patel gritted his teeth as he observed the alien instructors. Their weapons were unlike anything humans had ever seen. Blades that sliced through metal, as if it were paper, energy beams that cut through shields, and claws that could crush a hull like a tin can. The crew quickly realized that even the smallest mistake would be fatal. Harlan, the ship's tactical officer, muttered to Mira, "They're not just teaching us to fight. They're reshaping our instincts. If we survive this, we won't just be soldiers, we'll be predators." Myra nodded, though her heart was heavy. The thought was both terrifying and exhilarating. The humans were learning, but the cost was high. Every day brought exhaustion, fear, and tiny victories. One mistake could end Cale, Raj, Harlan, or even herself. The alien instructors were patient in one way, but merciless in another. Corrected mistakes with brutal demonstrations, sometimes causing small injuries to the humans. The crew learned quickly that hesitation was death. Yet each success was a small spark of hope. Humans were adapting, growing stronger, faster, sharper. During one exercise, Myra watched Cale anticipate an alien strike before it happened. His movements were not perfect, but they were clever, unexpected, and effective. The alien instructor paused, tilted its head, and clicked sharply. The crew realized it was impressed, though they would never admit it in words humans could understand. Even with progress, tension filled every corner of the Endeavor. The crew could not relax, not even for a moment. Every time a console beeped, or the ship shuddered, their hearts jumped. The alien snare still held them partially in place, and they knew the enemy fleet could return at any moment. Night shifts were the worst. Mira would lie in her small quarters, staring at the dark viewport and listening to the hum of the ship. Her thoughts raced. Will we survive the first strike? Can humans truly fight alongside these beings? The questions gnawed at her, keeping her awake. But she knew one thing: she could not show fear. Her crew needed strength, even if it meant hiding her own doubts. One evening, during a particularly grueling session, the aliens introduced a simulation of the enemy fleet. Explosions filled the holographic space. Ships burned, and humans and aliens moved in perfect coordination or failed spectacularly. Kale fell behind, missing a critical maneuver, and nearly died in the simulation. The entire crew felt the tension spike as the scenario ended. Again, the alien instructor clicked, its eyes glowing brighter and faster. Mira's jaw tightened. "We will do it," she said firmly. "And this time we'll succeed. We can't fail. Humanity depends on it." The next hours were a blur of drills, combat strategy, and alien tactics. By the end, sweat-soaked uniforms clung to tired bodies, and every member of the crew felt the sting of exhaustion.
Ow.
But beneath it all, a new determination grew. The humans were learning not just to survive, but to fight in ways no one had expected. Raj whispered to Kale during a brief rest, "I never thought I'd say this, but I feel stronger, smarter. Like we can actually do this." Kale nodded, still catching his breath. "Yeah, but I don't trust them yet. One wrong move, and we're dead." Mira approached, placing a hand on both their shoulders. "Trust isn't the point. Survival is. And for survival, we need each other. Even with them, even if it scares us." Outside, the stars of the Altair system shone coldly. Inside, tension and fear mingled with hope and determination. Humans were learning, adapting, and surviving, but the ultimate test was still ahead. The first strike of the enemy fleet loomed closer with every passing moment. Mira gazed at the alien instructors. They were harsh, unforgiving, and terrifying, but also brilliant. If humans could survive this training, perhaps they could survive anything. Her voice, quiet but firm, echoed in the bridge. "Tomorrow, we begin the first strike, and when it starts, fight like humans have never fought before." The crew nodded, hearts pounding, eyes wide. Every member understood the truth. They were no longer just explorers, they were soldiers. And the galaxy had no idea what humans could do when pushed to the edge. The bridge of the Endeavor was tense. Every crew member was at their station, hands steady, hearts pounding. Outside, the dark expanse of space stretched endlessly, dotted with distant stars. Somewhere beyond the void, the enemy fleet waited, unaware of the deadly alliance forming against them. Captain Myra Lawson took a deep breath. "All systems ready?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. "Shields at full capacity," Raj reported. "Weapons aligned? Alien allies in position?" Mira said, her eyes scanning the viewport. The first strike would decide everything, the humans had. Trained with the lethal species for days, learning strategies, tactics, and survival skills that no human had ever known. But now, it was time to test them against a real enemy. A distant flash caught Kale River's eye. "Captain, there. Moving, the enemy ships are launching drones." The holographic display lit up with hundreds of fast-moving targets. Small attack drones, faster than anything humans had faced before, streaked toward the Endeavor and its alien allies. "Engage," Mira shouted. The humans and aliens moved in unison, a terrifying, coordinated force. The alien species struck. First, claws extended, energy weapons fired, and drones exploded in brilliant bursts of light. Humans followed, using clever maneuvers and improvised tactics that the aliens had taught them. Kale gritted his teeth, dodging a drone that came too close. He aimed a rapid-fire pulse cannon, hitting the drone just in time. Sparks flew, and the drone exploded into fragments that floated in zero gravity. Around him, the rest of the human crew fought with precision and courage they didn't know they had. Raj's voice was tense over the coms. "We're keeping up. There are too many." Harlan, standing beside Mira, pointed at the enemy flagship. "If we take that down, first, the rest will scatter. That's the target." Mira nodded. "Agreed. Humans and allies, follow my lead. Kale, Raj, cover the left flank. Harlan, you're with me on the main strike." The ship dove into the enemy formation. Energy beams clashed against shields. Explosions lit the dark space like fireworks gone. Wrong. The humans felt fear, excitement, and terror all at once. Every second was a battle for life and death. Kale felt the ship shake violently. A drone had slipped through the left flank. He fired rapidly, his pulse cannon glowing with energy, destroying the enemy before it could reach the ship.
We're doing it, he shouted, heart racing.
Raj grinned briefly, his eyes wide. I can't believe this.
We're keeping
Up with them. We're actually fighting with them. Meanwhile, Mira and Harlan led the direct assault on the flagship. The alien allies were deadly, moving faster than thought possible, striking with precision and skill that seemed almost inhuman. Mira realized humans would never be as fast or strong, but they could be clever, unpredictable, and relentless. The flagship's defenses were formidable, but the humans noticed patterns, weaknesses that only someone with human ingenuity could see. Mira guided the alien allies, pointing out vulnerabilities in the enemy shields. The crew adjusted in real time, combining raw alien power with human strategy. Then came the moment of truth. The flagship's main cannon fired, sending a blast of energy toward the Endeavor. The Endeavor floated in the dark aftermath of the first battle. Smoke and debris from destroyed enemy ships drifted through space like silent ghosts. The crew tried to catch their breath, but there was no time to relax. The escaped enemy vessel still lingered somewhere in the void, a reminder that their struggle was far from over. Captain Mira Lawson paced the bridge, her jaw tight. Status report, she demanded. Raj Patel's fingers flew over the console. All systems stable. Shields are holding. Alien allies report minor damage but are fully operational. Whereas, eyes narrowed. Good. But we can't ignore the escapee. That ship could warn the fleet. Call reinforcements. We need to be ready for anything. The alien commander, its glowing eyes fixed on the humans, made a series of clicking sounds. Mira interpreted the gesture. They were preparing for a follow-up strike. But there was something off. The aliens' movements were sharp, almost impatient. A tension hung in the air that the humans hadn't felt before. Hours later, while the crew prepared defensive strategies, a sudden alarm blared. A section of the ship was under attack, not from the enemy fleet, but from their supposed allies. Cale Rivers yelled, "There! They're turning on us." Panic erupted on the bridge. The aliens, their allies in the first strike, had activated weapons against part of the Endeavor. Sparks flew, alarms shrieked, and crew members scrambled for cover. Betrayal was total and terrifying. Harlan barked orders. "Get us out of there. Shields up. Divert all power to the damaged section." Mira's mind raced. This was worse than any enemy attack. They had trusted these lethal beings, counted on them for survival, and now part of the crew was trapped, facing death from those they had fought alongside. Raj shouted, "We can't hold them off. They're too strong." Mira clenched her fists. "Then we do what we must. Cale, take the emergency shuttle. Get the crew to safety." Cale hesitated.
Captain.
"Some of us can't make it." "You'll make it if you try," Mira said firmly. "Go." The shuttle tore through the corridors as humans and aliens fought desperately. Explosions rocked the ship. Sparks flew from damaged panels, and the metallic smell of burning circuits filled the air. The humans could hear the heavy footsteps and roars of their former allies as they pushed through. Mira stayed behind, directing defense systems manually. She knew the shuttle had the best chance if she held the line, even for a few minutes. A blast struck the bridge, throwing her to the floor. Pain shot through her arm, but she pushed herself up. Her crew's survival mattered more than her own. She activated the last emergency pulse weapon, blasting the approaching aliens just enough to hold them back. "Now or never," she whispered. Her hands flew over the controls. The bridge shuddered violently, but the assault slowed. Cale's shuttle had cleared the damaged section, carrying part of the crew to safety. Mira barely allowed herself a breath. She looked at the remaining humans. Some were injured, some terrified, but all were alive. She knew the sacrifice was necessary. Without it, the entire ship might have been lost. Raj stepped up beside her, breathing heavily. "Captain, we survived, but why? Why would they turn on us after the first strike?" Mira shook her head. "Because they're lethal, because they're unpredictable. We trusted them. But the galaxy's deadliest species doesn't think like humans. Sometimes survival requires sacrifice. Kale's voice came over the comm. Captain, we're safe. For now. But the escape ship from the first battle, it's moving fast. They'll warn the rest of the fleet. Mira's jaw tightened. Then we prepare. We learned a lesson today. Alliances are fragile, and trust is a weapon that can cut both ways. But we're still alive. And alive is the first step to victory. The crew gathered, looking at one another. Their faces reflected exhaustion, fear, and a grim determination. Every member understood the price they had paid, and the sacrifices. Made would not be forgotten. Harlan muttered. We've survived worse than we imagined. But this betrayal, it shakes even the strongest. Mira looked out at the dark expanse of space through the viewport. Stars glittered coldly, indifferent to the struggles below. But inside the Endeavor, something stronger was growing. Resilience, courage, and the unmistakable spirit of humans who refused to give up, no matter the cost. She turned to her crew, her voice firm, commanding, yet filled with hope. They tried to break us. They almost did. But humans adapt. Humans survive. And now we fight smarter, stronger, and together, no matter who tries to stop us. The alarms quieted, and the immediate threat passed. Myra knew one truth. The enemy fleet was still out there. The escape ship would soon warn them, and the deadliest challenge of all was coming. But the humans of the Endeavor had survived betrayal, endured sacrifice, and learned the value of their own strength. The Endeavor drifted in the dark void of space, its hull scarred from battle, alarms still faintly blinking. Captain Mira Lawson stood on the bridge, staring at the distant speck on the sensors. The escaped enemy ship had returned, followed by the massive flagship and the rest of the enemy fleet. The humans knew this was their final chance. Everyone ready? Mira asked, her voice calm but firm. All systems green, Raj reported. Weapons aligned, shields stable. Alien allies are holding position. Mira's eyes narrowed. Good. This ends tonight. We fight, and we show the galaxy that humans are not weak. The fleet advanced like a wall of darkness, massive warships cutting through the stars. The humans felt fear, but they had learned something the enemy did not expect: cunning, strategy, and the refusal to give up. The Endeavor dove forward, using every maneuver the alien species had taught them, combined with human ingenuity. Kale Rivers gritted his teeth as drones streaked past. They're faster than anything we've seen. Then we use our heads, not just speed, Mira shouted. Remember, humans survive by thinking. The Endeavor and its allies struck. In perfect coordination, the aliens attacked with deadly precision, tearing through enemy shields, while humans focused on strategy, exploiting gaps, and predicting enemy movements. Explosions lit up space as ships collided and the enemy flagships. Energy weapons flashed dangerously close to the human ship. Harlan pointed at the flagship. Its core is exposed. If we hit it now, we can cripple the fleet. Myra's heart pounded. Rajkel, cover me. I'm taking the main strike team to the core. The humans maneuvered through the chaos, dodging blasts and debris. They combined clever tactics with alien strength. Kale fired precise energy pulses at weak points. Raj disrupted enemy shields, and Mira directed the attack with skill born from desperation and training. The flagship shuddered violently under the assault. Its massive hull cracked, and alarms screamed from inside the enemy vessel. Then, a massive blast rocked the Endeavor. Sparks flew across the bridge. Mira gritted her teeth. Hold on. What? Not done yet. The humans realized something amazing. The aliens were beginning to respect them. Their movements were synchronized, not because of fear, because of trust and acknowledgement that humans could fight in ways no species had expected. Kale yelled over the comms, "We're in position! Firing now!" Energy beams, pulse cannons, and alien weaponry focused on the flagship's core. There was a blinding flash, and the ship groaned as if screaming. Then silence. The flagship faltered, spinning out of control. Enemy ships wavered, directionless without their leader. Raj laughed in disbelief. We did it. We actually did it. Mira smiled briefly, though her heart still pounded. Not yet. We finish the fleet, then we survive. With renewed determination, the humans and aliens pushed forward, cutting down the remaining enemy ships one by one. The battle was fierce, but human ingenuity and the lethal strength of their allies made them unstoppable. They fought as a single deadly force, reshaping the galaxy's understanding of what humans could do. Finally, the last enemy ship tried to escape. Mira calculated the trajectory, sending a precise shot that disabled it. Silence fell. The battlefield was empty, the enemy fleet destroyed or forced to retreat. Humans and their allies had won. Bridge was quiet except for the hum of the Endeavor. The crew looked at one another, exhausted but alive. Myra's eyes met Kale's and Raj's, pride and relief shining in their faces. Harlan spoke softly, almost in awe. We did it. Actually survived? And we won. Mira nodded. We survived because we are humans, adapted, we fought smart, and we never gave up. No one thought humans could do this, but we did. The alien commander approached, its glowing eyes scanning the humans. There was no threat, no hostility, only acknowledgement. The galaxy's most lethal species had seen the humans' courage, ingenuity, and spirit. They had earned respect where few ever did.